Welcome back. Well, it was a really hot day here in South Central Pennsylvania. And on top of that, we had a tornado warning, I'm sorry, and a massive thunderstorm. Didn't last long enough to scare the cat under the sofa, but what can I say? He's small, and the last time he remembers a bad thunderstorm like that, a tree fell on his schoolhouse. The dog slept through it, but he was smart. He ran. So I got out to Bedford today, and okay, here he comes. I just heard his bells. I got out to Bedford today. This is the first time I've been able to do any shopping in about 3 weeks because of my quasi-possible COVID confinement. And I got some interesting stuff. So we'll take a look at that when we come back. Okay, as you can see from the tail, yes, Audie's here in my lap. He did not like the thunderstorm at all, and he was outside when it started, and he actually chased me across the street to the neighbor's yard to get me to take him in. So he wanted in really badly, and it had only begun drizzling a little at that point. I was surprised he wasn't a little more brave about it, but no, he's a smart cat. He knows where he needs to be in the rain. So let's take a look at what I got at Bedford. And I thought today we'd start off with that booth in the back corner, the one I go to every time I'm there because they have a lot of interesting rose medallion pieces, plus a couple of older Chinese pieces. And sooner or later, I am convinced they will realize that those pieces are overpriced and maybe come down, and then I'll be waiting. So let's take a look at that. Well, this is the little booth in the back corner of Bedford, and I come in here a lot. They have some very interesting Asian pieces, but the prices are frankly all over the place. So let me show you an example, because I've mentioned that many times, but I haven't actually stopped and said, here, look what I mean. This is $75. This is, let me back up so you can see it better. This is a beautiful old piece of Chinese stoneware. Let's look at the bottom. It's a lovely piece. It's marked China. There are a couple of little nicks on the underside, not a big deal. The fact that it's marked China, as we know, means that it dates from between 1890 and 1919. $75. Bowl. This is rose medallion style in the rooster pattern. It's a very pretty bowl, but let's take a look here. See these markings? This is made in Japan, decorated in Hong Kong. Nowhere near as old or as valuable. Each of these $75, I can tell you which one is the bargain. So, given the fact that I consider this wonderful old Chinese piece of stoneware to be overpriced at $75, you have to know I'm not going to go for the made in Japan, decorated in Hong Kong rose medallion piece. Not a chance. However, let's slide over here. Do you remember the last time I was in here, I got a little berry box of salt and pepper shakers? Well, we've got some more. I passed by this one the first time because they were both priced at $20 and I felt the other one was a better buy. But this time I took a look at these, and there are 2 pair and I think 2 oddball shakers. Not the same great buy, but I think good enough to come home with me. Well, disappointing. No Chinese porcelain for me in that shop. That is typical of what I see a lot in antique booths when the vendors really don't know what they're selling and they just throw the same price on everything. Now, we saw that a few weeks ago, the last time I was at Bedford, when I showed you salt and pepper shakers. The nice ones were $6. The lousy ones were $6. It was a vendor who decided a salt and pepper shaker is worth $6 no matter what it is. And that's good. Yes, okay. And that's good because, you can get some really sweet deals from people like that. This vendor has decided that everything is worth $75. So no deals there. But there's no discrimination in it. It's just sort of, this looks old and Chinese, and I'm going to put a $75 price tag on it, even if it's not Chinese, because that rooster bowl, even though it's technically in the rose medallion family, the rooster pattern, that was a piece that was made after the Second World War in Japan, decorated in Hong Kong, and there are a lot of people who would be very happy to tell you, no, that's not real rose medallion. As far as I am concerned, if it looks like rose medallion and it was made in the Orient, then yeah, it counts. It all depends on what you're doing with it. And I do have a number of pieces that were made in Japan, decorated in Hong Kong, and I'm perfectly contented with them. So I had to walk away Chinaless, but I did get the salt and pepper shakers, and they are very nice. It's not the same goodbye the last batch of salt and pepper shakers that I got from that booth was, but still, they're nice pieces, and I don't think I'm going to have any trouble getting rid of them. So, no complaining about that. Okay, there you go, baby. However, since I was dealing with rose medallion lust at that point, my eye was drawn to a little cabinet just down the aisle from that booth. So let's take a look at what I found there. So I was walking past this cabinet, and take a look. This is a beautiful set of 4 rose canton egg cups. Now, we know they're rose canton because it's peonies only, no people. And here, let me show you. I've checked, actually, that's not the best one to show. Here we go. All right. Here's the mark, China in the lozenge, and as we just discussed, this means between 1890 and 1919. Nice old pieces. And of course, they are coming home with me. Even if I were going to keep them for resale, which I am not, they're going into my own collection, $20 is a very good price. Those egg cups are mine. Those are not going to be sold. And I have been acquiring egg cups recently because my China rose medallion was built around my silver service. My silver service has been in my family for well over 100 years. The pattern was discontinued in 1920, I think. So when I want to, expand or replace pieces, I have to go to Antique Silver Services. And a month ago, when this is just before I ended up dealing with the Bell's palsy, I happened to come across some egg spoons. Very good price, and it was 5, my pattern. Now, I need a 6. I'll find it. But once I got the egg spoons, naturally, I needed to get egg cups. So I got a very beautiful old egg cup. I got some more egg cups that were made in Japan, decorated in Hong Kong. But as I say, I'm perfectly comfortable with that. And then I saw these. So I am upgrading that set, and I believe it was a set of 5 I got. Upgrading, I will eventually need to grab a 6th egg cup along with a 6th egg spoon. But yeah, and I really shouldn't admit that, because geez, does it make me sound wacky and frivolous, but that's how I do it. The silver service dictated the china. So I have a great many tureens and bowls because I have a great many large serving spoons suitable for bowls. Hey, anyway, that is my indulgence. That's one of the things that I do collect. I don't want to say I collect willy-nilly, but I do get rose medallion china for my set, and some fennial rose pieces as well when I come across them. It's my little indulgence. So that's what this was. And although I believe in the video I said the egg cups were $20, they were $28. And that's perfectly fine with me, because at $28, that was $7 per cup, which is an excellent price, especially for that china marking. So let's see what's next. Coming up next is that blue geisha ware tea set. And I've shown you this before, and I said at the time there just wasn't enough of a profit margin in it. But the last time I showed it on a video, one of our subscribers said, hey, I want it. So I checked it out. The condition is perfect. It's service for 6, and somebody wants it. And I'm delighted by that, because it will go to a home where, this is someone who saw it and said, I like that. And the idea of a tea service for 6 with no damage is such a nice little coup. So let's take a peek at that. Well, perhaps you will remember this really sweet geisha ware tea set. Now, that's only part of it. I've already taken the cups down because I wanted to check it for damages. When I spoke about this last time, I said that it was an excellent price. It's service for 6. It's a rare color in geisha ware, this blue, very rare, and it was $28. So that makes it a very good price retail. For resale, I felt it would be hard to even make my money back on it, because you take $28, you add taxes, fees, etc., and then shipping on top of it. Was anybody going to be willing to pay the price I would have to charge just to break even? And it looks like somebody just got a phone call. One of our viewers saw it and said yes, she would. So this is going home with me. What I'm going to do with this is I'm going to bring a couple of pieces up to the front and then ask them if they will gather up the rest for me, because I am not putting this into my wonder bag. I don't trust myself on that. So we'll get back in a minute. Well, right around the corner from the geisha ware tea set booth, was another booth, and this is where I get a lot of salt and pepper shakers. They very kindly turn their stock every few weeks, so I can usually get at least half a dozen salt and pepper shakers. Really interesting, wide variety of pieces, something to suit every taste. And this is the backbone of my Etsy store, salt and pepper shakers, mostly because I can sell them very inexpensively, and I think people really enjoy them. They're small, and you can put a little interesting style onto your kitchen table or your dining table with salt and pepper shakers. It's an easy way to throw a little bit of your personality into your daily life. So let's take a peek at those. This shop, let me just give you an overview of it, is a place where I go frequently to grab salt and pepper shakers. And I've filmed some of the shakers in the past, and I wanted to show you these. It's a little set of Japanese salt and pepper shakers. Looks to me like luggage, and $5 a piece. So that's going to come with me. And next to it, we have unmarked, almost certainly Japanese, some puppies. And again, $5. And we've discussed this in the past. Things like dogs, especially big-eyed puppies, really do well. People love them. So they're coming home with me too. Well, this is the entire little set of salt and pepper shakers. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that I picked up in that booth. There was going to be 7, but sadly it was damaged. These were on average $5 a piece. Some are 4, some are 6, but overall $5 a piece. All Japan, all very nice, interesting pieces that should do well. Well, after the salt and pepper shakers, I went upstairs to the second floor, and it had to be 100 degrees up there. It was just so hot. And whenever I go to Bedford, I know it's hot on the second floor. I bring a fan with me, but gee, the fan just wasn't doing any good. And the first thing I saw up there was more rose medallion. So let's take a look. So let's take a look at this. It's hard to see because of the light, so I'm going to go in closer on one of them. Here, this one is in the dark, so you can see this fairly well. This is a set of 4 relatively modern rose medallion lidded mugs. Now, for starters, we can tell they're modern because of the marks, so I will show you that in a minute. But also, our common sense tells us these are not old pieces. Antique china did not have mugs. Mugs did not have lids. So that alone is telling us something. So let's take a quick peek at the markings. There we go. This is a modern mark. Now, the set is $22. And I am going to grab it because even though I consider it somewhat high for modern rose medallion, for rose medallion, generally speaking, it's very low. So, it's going to come home with me. Now, those pieces are not staying with me. Those pieces I got for resale. Yes, I paid a lot for them. It was like, what, $28, I think I said, for 4 cups, so that's like $7 a cup. But they are lidded rose medallion mugs. They are new, which is to say 3rd quarter 20th century, sometime between 1975 and probably 1990. I think 1990 is about the cutoff point for that mark. Very nice pieces, and those are going into my Etsy shop. They do not all match, so they are probably all going to go in individually. I don't think I'm going to have any trouble selling them. They are very, very nice pieces. And as I say, I have no problem combining new pieces with old pieces. You know, that matchy, everything's got to be the same, and that just does not appeal to me. Largely because, as I mentioned, that family silver set, that has a collection of monograms you wouldn't believe on it. It's got my great aunts, it's got my grandmother's, it's got some of mine, it's got my great grandmother's. And I figure whoever ends up getting this after I'm gone is going to add pieces with their own monogram on it. And according to Miss Manners, if anybody remembers who she was, mixed monograms on your silver is actually a very good thing because it shows how long it's been in your family. So I loved Miss Manners. She was so snooty. And I have a soft spot in my heart for snooty. While I was up on the second floor, I saw something that was just delightful. I had no intention of buying it, but it just, it cracked me up. So let's take a peek. Well, look at this guy. If I brought that home, I think Audie would move out. That is an amazing little thing. I'm going to go over and check out the price. Well, our huge parrot friend is on a stand, and he's a little over 6 feet tall, I think, including his stand, and he is $75 in case anybody's interested in a very intimidating and carefree pet. Now, was that amazing? I kept thinking, what would Audie make of that if I brought it home? You know, and I do not know. So that was just something I wanted to share with you because it was fun, and because places like Bedford have things like that. That's not for me, but that is for someone else. That's got somebody's name on it. Somebody is going to bring that giant parrot home with them, give it a name, and it's going to be their best friend. So, and good for them if they do. After the parrot, I went over to prowl through some of Paul's little cubby holes. Now, I didn't film going through there because you really can't. You have to sort of squiggle your way through and open drawers and cabinets to find these things. But I did find some goodies. So, let's look at what I found. Well, I am up on the second floor now, and as usual, it is brutally hot up here. So I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to stay. I'm afraid I'm going to start perspiring on the camera lens, and you're going to think you were caught in a rainstorm. But I went through one of Paul's little rabbit warren booths, and here's what I found. This is an interesting little geisha ware pitcher, $4, a very old Chinese stoneware bowl, $3.50, and a set of geisha ware salt and pepper shakers for $6. And of course, keep in mind, I just grabbed that geisha ware tea set, so who knows, we may have a built-in buyer for this piece. I was very glad to be able to get that blue salt and pepper shaker because, as I say, I've already got a buyer for the blue tea set, and who knows, they may be interested. And believe me, if they are not, there are geisha ware collectors who know how rare that blue edging is. I would say about 90% of the geisha ware you find has a brick red, an orangey red edging. Just like the little creamer that I just showed you. That is the most common. Next, I see green. And in fact, I have a couple of green pieces that I'm going to throw them in my Etsy shop. I need to do that this weekend. Oh my, I'm so tardy about that. Next is green. and green probably represents maybe 5 to 7%, and the remaining is blue, and occasionally you might find black. I've never seen a set of black. I've seen 1 or 2 pieces over the many years in black. So blue is the hot color. That is the desirable color. So I was glad to be able to get my hands on that. And the little creamer will also find a home. They were both in very good shape. The Chinese bowl is not going to be sold, I don't think. And the reason for that is Audie might need a new cat dish, maybe. He's got a little ceramic bowl now because his antique Chinese piece, he knocked off the counter. He caught a mouse, and I don't think the mouse got up on the counter. I think Audie caught the mouse, hopped up on the counter, and started playing with it up there, and just trashed his bowl because it got in his way. So that's when he got the little ceramic bowl and said, here, this is your new bowl. But I don't know, maybe we'll get him something elegant. He is now drinking his water out of the dog's dish, and I think he is hinting that he wants his food out of the dog's food bowl. That hasn't happened yet, but I did feel bad for him because the dog had 150-year-old Chinese stoneware, and he had this little ceramic bowl, I think from the 1960s, so poor thing. But he did, in fact, have a very elegant piece at one time, and maybe we'll do, I don't know. I got to think about it because my heart was broken when he ended up knocking that off the table. So, I'm sorry, it was the counter he knocked it off. While I was on the second floor, I also found a very pretty little hull creamer. So let's take a look. Well, this little piece is a hull creamer, and I don't know how well it's showing up under these bright fluorescent lights, but it's a sort of cafe au lait color, hull and marked, 250, good condition. I don't see any damage on it. And there are a lot of people who collect hull stoneware. So I'm going to take that home with me for $250. Now, hull pottery is very collectible. It's one of the major names in U.S.-made pottery, and that piece, it's just really sweet. I see a lot of U.S.-made pottery that I look at it and say, okay, this is interesting, but that one just had such a beautiful coloration, and of course the condition was perfect, the price was not bad, so yeah, that one came home with me. That's going to hit my Etsy shop. That's not something that I would be inclined to keep, because although I like U.S.-made pottery, it's not something I collect. After that, I went back down to the second floor, and I saw a very pretty little gold Japan vase, and let me show you that. Now this is just a really interesting little Japanese vase. Let me put my hand in here so you can see how big it is. We're looking at about 5 inches. It's $5. Condition is very good. I was sort of drawn to this because it has a textured surface like some of those salt and pepper shakers that I have waiting for me to take home. I'm going to go for it. I think it's pretty, it's interesting, it's in good condition, and I think someone will find it worth their time. Same booth, a little sugar and creamer set with a tray. Also Japanese, definitely coming with me for $12. Well, that was just an adorable little piece. And then when I looked in the cabinet, it was sitting on top of the cabinet, I looked in the cabinet and saw that beautiful blue cream and sugar set. Now that is Japanese, probably from 1950s, 1960s. Um, I've handled pieces like that before, and boy do they sell. People love that design, and it is really beautiful. It's very small. It's cream and sugar for two, really. In other words, you wouldn't serve a whole tea party out of pieces like that because they are small, but beautiful, delicate. Um, those I was not passing up. So the final piece that I got, this one was from the same booth where I got all the salt and pepper shakers, the little puppies and the luggage and the frog and whatever they were. As I was leaving with my cache of salt and pepper shakers, I saw this really pretty little famille vert dish that had been turned into an ashtray. And there was no price on it. And that's why I didn't film it, because with no price, there was no telling whether I would be getting it. And of course, showing you something that doesn't have a price doesn't do you a lot of good, because it's all well and good to say, here, look, this is a pretty piece, but it's good for you to know, as potential buyers, what a reasonable price is. So I brought the piece down, and they called the vendor, and she gave me a price of $9 on it, so I took it. Now, there's also a possibility that this one might become Audie's food dish. A lovely famille vert piece. But the interesting thing about this piece, and as I say, I did not film it, so I'm just going to photograph it for you. The interesting thing about this piece is that it's clad in pewter. They did this to pieces and turned them into ashtrays, and there's one little divot for a cigarette. And the reason they did this is usually because there was a chip or crack along the edge of the piece, and they did that to conceal the chipping or cracking or flawed edges. Okay by me, because if in fact that does become the cat dish, that pewter coating is probably going to ensure that Audie will not be dumping it, and shattering it in a million pieces. It will probably just bounce down the street. But what I want you to notice about this is china from the famille vert, and that's green family. Rose medallion is famille rose, which only means pink family. It has nothing to do with the flower roses. It's just the color, because the French were the original importers of rose medallion and, well, most of the export Chinese porcelain, frankly. And they set the categories, so they did it by color. And this little famille vert piece is really nice, and I don't see much of it, but it's a beautiful little piece. At $9, I certainly was not going to leave it behind. I figured that if Audie doesn't want it, somebody else will. And I was just very impressed with it. So, pictures, here you go. So, that was my Bedford trip for today. And I need to, as I say, start getting this stuff listed, because I'm up to my eyeballs in porcelain. It's all over my kitchen. Fortunately, it's no longer all over my living room and everywhere else in the house. It's just confined to the kitchen. but it's getting to the point where you have to be careful where you put down your coffee cup. So I need to do something about that. All right, so couple little things. One, if you have not yet entered Julie's giveaway, I am pinning a note with another email address. I know a lot of you had a great deal of trouble with her email addresses, so I have a good one for you. Use that because obviously her giveaway prize is definitely worthwhile. Remember, it is a $50 gift certificate to either her eBay or Etsy shop, your choice, or a quilted baby blanket, which I have no doubt all of the grandmas out there are eyeing. So definitely, if you haven't entered, enter. One more little thing. Our last video, and this was yesterday, we talked about life post-COVID, and I got so many snarky little comments about we're not post-COVID. Pick up your dictionary, people. We are post-COVID. Post means after. It doesn't mean after the conclusion of COVID. It can mean after the onset of COVID. We are now post-COVID. COVID has come. This is after the onset of COVID, hence post-COVID. And the example I like to use is I am postmenopausal. That does not mean that my menopause is over. It's never going to be over. It's ongoing, but it has come, and I am past the point at which it has come. So, come on, let's just take it down a notch. There's no reason to be looking for the worst at every turn. Think, that's all. All right, so let's have our little slideshow of JLS's Horizons, a little quiet music, and get our little minute of peace and serenity. And I will see you tomorrow. Remember, tomorrow is Sunday, new shop spotlight. See you then.
Mm-hmm.